Jessica here, and today I'm going to talk about the Jockey Club Gold Cup. It's a mile and a quarter at Belmont Park and has $1 million purse, and to me it looks like the Whitney round 2. I think the top 4 finishers from the Whitney are the top 4 horses to be in this race again, and again I think Fort Larned gets the nod. He got a good pace set up in the Whitney, and I think that's going to happen again. I think today he gets the lead. The only other horse in the race with any kind of tactical speed is San Pablo, who is interesting because he's coming off of 2 consecutive wins where he ran 102 buyers in the Birdstone and the Philip Island Handicap. However, this is a huge class test. Prior to this, the best horse he had beaten, the best horses were Isn't He Perfect and Toby's Corner. And while they're nice horses, they're not Ron the Greek, Hymn Book, flat out Fort Larned. Besides Fort Larned, I like Ron the Greek again. I think he's going to run his race. Ever since switching to Bill Mott in July of last year, he hasn't finished worse than second. But I think that he won't be able to overcome the pace disadvantage against a horse like Fort Larned. Flat Out was only ahead behind his stablemate in the Whitney, but it's been a while since he's won. His last win was in this race, the Jockey Club Gold Cup last year. Now, 2 starts back, he switched to Bill Mott, which obviously helped Ron the Greek out a lot. But I'm not sure that he's quite as good as his stablemate. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he did win, but I wouldn't pick him. Hymn Book is the other horse coming out of the Whitney. I like the fact that he's getting 1.25 miles for the first time. He's by Arch. He should enjoy the extra distance. Now, it's not that much extra distance from the Pimlico Special at 1 3/16 miles when he was beaten. He was 5th behind Alternation and Nero. But I don't know what happened in that race. He didn't really run a bad race. He ran a 98 buyer. He was only beaten a length and 3/4. He was wide. He squeezed, kind of bombed. It wasn't the greatest of trips. And since then, he's kept doing really well. He won the Don Handicap earlier this year, and that was kind of his breakthrough win. He hasn't really won a race. He hasn't won a race since. But that's not too bad. He's been against the best horses. He's been dancing all the big dances. I think he has a good shot. I don't know if he's quite good enough. I would love to see him win personally from just a sentimental standpoint because I love the Janney horses, the Phipps horses, those old families that go back. It's great to see them win big races. But I don't think Hymn Book gets it done. He'll probably be right there, though. Outside of those 4, I really don't see a lot. You have Stay Thirsty, who last year I would have liked in this race. He's better in New York. He's a New York specialist. But this year he's had 3 starts. They've all been in New York. None of them have been very good. Not much else to say. Ruler on Ice, I can't make a case for this horse. I don't like him. He hasn't won since he won the Belmont last year. I don't like him. We're going to skip the 3-year-olds real quick. San Pablo, as I said earlier, is interesting. If you want a horse that could do some damage, he's going to get a good pace. I see him sitting second to Fort Larned early. And he's a good horse. I don't know if he's this classy. This will be the test. The other one, Game Ball, he's not going to win this race. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He cannot win this race. Besides him, you have the 2 3-year-olds, Atigun and Fast Falcon, coming out of the Travers. The Travers has proven not to be the most key race ever. The winners, Golden Ticket and Alpha, they came out of it and ran not so great in the Pennsylvania Derby, got beat by Handsome Mike. Who is Handsome Mike? Exactly. So, Fast Falcon, he might have ran the best race in the Travers. And because of that, you have to give him a shot again, as far as the 3-year-olds are concerned. Now, as far as against these horses, I really don't think any 3-year-old is going to be beating older this year. Out of the crop that's left, none of them are as good as the older horses. You could use Fast Falcon underneath. He has been improving. If you throw out the Jim Dandy, he's been improving. He's had his races, but I can't make a case for him against these solid older males. Atigun. is the other 3-year-old. And Atigun and I, we kind of go back. I loved him in the Belmont Stakes. I thought that of all the horses that could win the Belmont, Atigun was the only horse you could trust in that race. I was really certain that he was going to hit the board, and he did. Despite a questionable ride from Julien Leparoux, in my opinion, Atigun was ranked 3/4 of the way throughout the race. And despite that, he made a good, solid move. It looked like he had a chance to win at one point. He kind of flattened out a little bit late. I excuse him fully for that because he spent the first part of the race fighting his jockey. The Jim Dandy was kind of deja vu. He spent the whole race fighting his jockey, and except this time, at 1 1/8, he just didn't fire. Okay, throw it out. Rider switch to Mike Smith. I liked him in the Traverse. I don't think he's the best 3-year-old in the country by any means. I think he is improving. I think he's going to, again, run the best race of his life, as he did in the Traverse. Again, I don't think the best race of his life, what I expect as far as improvement, I don't think that's good enough to win this race. I do think he's going to continue improving. I think he's going to run a good race. If you're playing vertically, trifectas, superfectas, definitely use him. I'll probably just put $5 on him to show myself because I think at 1 1/4, continuing to improve, I think he does run a good race. I don't think his best race is better than Ron the Greek, Fort Larned, Hinbook, Flat Out, even San Pablo. I think they're all better than him, even if Atigun runs the best race of his life. We'll see. And that wraps it up. Fort Larned is my top pick. I think Ron the Greek, Hinbook, and Flat Out all kind of blanket second there as far as how much I like them. And if you're looking for a long shot to use underneath as just kind of a sneaky, improving 3rd or 4th maybe, I would suggest Atigun. Thank you for watching, and good luck with all your bets.